All right, let's just cut straight to it. If you want to get bigger and build muscle, you don't need 1,000 different confusing theories, you just need a simple, effective blueprint. And in the next few minutes, that is exactly what we're going to lay out for you, a clear, science-backed plan. Let's get right into it.
So, before we even think about picking up a weight, let's ask the most important question. What is actually going on inside your body when you build muscle? I'll tell you right now, it's not magic. It's a totally predictable biological process. And once you understand this, everything else just clicks into place.
And that process, it's called the muscle growth cycle. It is so important that we get the why of all this before we even dive into the how. You can think of it like a feedback loop that your body is constantly running to adapt and, well, get stronger.
Now, the engine that drives this whole entire cycle is a principle called progressive overload. Seriously, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. It's the simple idea that you have to consistently ask your body to do just a little bit more work over time. Add 5 more pounds to the bar, push for 1 more rep, whatever it is, you've got to give your muscles a reason to change. Without that constant challenge, there's just no growth, period.
So here's how that cycle actually plays out, broken down into 4 super simple steps. First, you train. You're creating these tiny, microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. Step 2, you eat. You give your body the raw materials, the fuel it needs to repair all that damage. Third, and this is key, you rest. This is when the magic actually happens, when your body rebuilds those fibers to be bigger and stronger than they were before. And finally, you grow, and then you repeat the whole thing. That's it. Train, eat, rest, repeat.
Okay, so we've got the why totally covered. Now let's build out the how. This is your actual training blueprint, and it's designed for one specific goal, hypertrophy, which is just the fancy scientific word for building muscle size. The plan we're going to run with is a classic, super effective 4-day hypertrophy split. And the logic here is really simple. This setup lets you hit every single muscle group hard enough to really stimulate growth, but it also gives you enough time for that critical recovery we just talked about. Okay, let's break down what your week is going to look like. We kick things off on day 1 with our main push muscles, chest and triceps. Then on day 2, we balance it out with the pull muscles, your back and biceps. Day 3, yep, that's the big one, legs. We're building that foundation with huge compound moves like squats. And we round out the week on day 4, hitting shoulders and abs to build that complete physique. See, it's not random at all. It's a logical way to pair things up to get the most out of your work and recovery. Now listen, how you do these workouts is every bit as important as what you're doing. That sweet spot for muscle growth, for hypertrophy, is almost always going to be in that 6 to 12 rep range. That's heavy enough to be a real challenge, but you're still getting enough volume to create that stimulus for growth, and that rest period, 60 to 90 seconds, that's crucial. It's just enough time to get your strength back for the next set, but short enough to keep the intensity high, which also helps drive growth.
Look, you could have the most perfect training plan on the planet, but it means absolutely nothing if you aren't fueling your body properly. Like the saying goes, you can't build a house without bricks, and your nutrition, well, that's where you get the bricks.
The absolute #1 non-negotiable foundation of eating for size is being in a calorie surplus. It's just simple physics, right? To build new tissue, in this case muscle, you have to take in more energy, more calories than your body is burning every day.
So what's the magic number? A really solid starting point is to aim for between 33 and 38 calories for every kilogram of your body weight. You just take your weight in kilogram and multiply. So for an 80-kilo person, that's going to be somewhere around 2,600 to 3,000 calories. It's not an exact science to start, but it's a great way to get you in the right ballpark.
Next, let's talk about the most important brick for building that house, protein. The science-backed target you want to shoot for is 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. This is another non-negotiable. Without enough protein, your body just doesn't have the raw materials, the amino acids, to go in and repair and rebuild those muscle fibers you worked so hard to break down.
And you can't forget about the energy to actually do the work in the first place. That's where carbohydrates come in. They are your body's #1 preferred fuel source. Aiming for about 4 to 6 grams per kilogram, make sure you've got plenty of gas in the tank for intense workouts and helps get nutrients into your muscles to kickstart recovery.
So what does all this actually look like on a plate? Does it have to be complicated? Not at all. I mean, look at this example. We have quality protein and good carbs at every single meal. Oats and eggs to start the day, the classic chicken and rice for lunch, steak and potatoes for dinner. It's all about pairing a solid protein with a complex carb to fuel your body all day long. Then you just use snacks to fill in any gaps and make sure you hit your targets. Okay, so
Once your training is on point and your nutrition is dialed in, then we can talk about the little extras. And let's be super clear here, supplements are optional. They just give you a small boost, but only if they're on top of an already solid plan. They are not a replacement for hard work and good food. We're just focusing on the proven basics here. Whey protein is really just for convenience. It makes hitting that high protein goal a whole lot easier. Creatine, about 5 grams a day, is one of the most researched and proven supplements on the planet for boosting strength and performance. And then you've got things like a multivitamin and fish oil just to cover your general health bases and help with recovery. No magic pills here, just simple, effective support.
We've covered training, we've covered fueling, but the third piece of this puzzle is probably the most overlooked one, recovery. This is where the actual growth happens. You create the stimulus in the gym, you build the muscle outside of it.
And what's your number one tool for recovery? It's sleep. Plain and simple. Your target has to be 7 to 9 hours every single night. While you're sleeping, your body releases growth hormone, and it gets to work repairing all those muscle fibers you broke down. This isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a requirement if you want to see the best results.
I want you to really let this sink in for a second. Muscle grows during rest, not in the gym. The gym is the trigger, the food is the fuel, but the rest, that is when all the building actually gets done.
And finally, that brings us to the one element that ties all of this together. It's not a secret exercise, it's not a magic food. Your real superpower on this journey is just consistency. It's all about mastering the long game.
So how do you stay on track? Well, you measure what matters. You track your workouts so you know exactly what numbers you need to beat next time. That's progressive overload in action. You take progress photos, because the scale can be weird day to day, but pictures over several months tell the real story. Aim for slow and steady weight gain. About half a kilo a week is a really sustainable rate. But the real key here is patience. You have to trust the process.
And there you have it. That's the complete blueprint. Train smart, eat enough food, get deep sleep, and maybe, most importantly, stay consistent. Everything you need is right here. So the only question left is, are you ready to build?